Hey, thank you for joining me for this class that will mainly mobilize your ankles and your knees. So we're going to be standing up for the whole class. And since we're going to practice some static standing position on one leg, don't hesitate to practice next to a wall for a little bit more support. So let's get started in a standing position and take time to place yourself here in your practice space. Maybe wiggling a little bit around, shifting your weight on one foot, the other foot, shaking your shoulders, your legs, just kind of getting started. Good. So find a stable base here in this standing position, choosing how wide you want your feet to be. And we're going to start to expose our ankles to a little bit of load. So roll on the inner edges of your feet. So you will lift the outer edges of your feet. And just staying here a little bit, observing how that feels. Where do you feel the work in your ankles? What kind of stretch? What kind of activations? And feel free to sway a little bit from side to side, maybe doing some circles with your pelvis above your ankles, seeing how that affects the load, what you feel in your ankles, but still being on the inner edges of your feet. Good. And back to center. And reverse. So you're going to lift the inner edges of your feet, meaning that your feet roll on the outer edges. Taking this time again to observe how that feels. Probably different. It's going to be other muscles working here. So observe where you're feeling that activation again. And if you want to explore different load, then don't hesitate to again circle your pelvis above your ankles, still lifting the inner edges of your feet. Good. And then come back to center. Take a little bit of a time here to wiggle your toes, to shake again your ankles, maybe doing little circles with your ankles. Perfect. And you're going to start to have a walk around your practice space and trying to find as many ways as possible to walk, meaning that you can be on the inner edges of your feet, on the outer edges, maybe on the ball of your feet or on your heels. So playing a little bit with all the positions your feet can be in. And maybe bending the knees a little bit more, making bigger steps. So walking in ways that are really not familiar. Like you wouldn't walk like that in the street, for example. So feel free to really explore things that are not common, that are a bit foreign for your body. Not necessarily going in a straight line, but crossing one leg in front of the other, behind the other leg, walking backward, maybe with a little bit of spinal extension, spinal flexion, challenging your balance. So hopefully you're feeling your ankles and feet being awake by just doing that. Good. And slowly make your way back to your initial standing position and find a wall if you want a little bit more support for this exercise. So we're going to do some ankle raises. You're going to lift your heels from the floor, so shifting your weight on the ball of your foot and then lifting your heels as high as possible. And what we're looking for here is to have our ankles really going in a straight line in the direction of our toes. So what we want to avoid is to have the ankles rolling out. We're going to do a couple more like that. So lifting your heels. And when you're going down, go slow with control. because the slower you will go, the more we will work the entire range of motion here. So play with that. And if you're next to a wall, don't hesitate from time to time to remove your hand to see where you're at. If you can find a little bit more balance as we go on. And next time you are lifting your heels and then slowly lowering them down with control, you're going to shift your weight back, lift your toes, place them down again. So we're going to add on the movement. So you're lifting your heels, placing them down, shifting your weight back, lifting your toes, and then again. So you're going to do that a little bit faster, so that will be easier with the momentum to keep your body in balance. So you're kind of pushing your butt a little bit back to be able to lift your toes. And then you can add the arms if you want a little bit more coordination. So when your toes are lifted, your arms are straight forward. And when you are lifting your heels, your arms are on each side of your body. So that helps to add a little bit more counterbalance to the movement. And then you also have the option to bend your knees when your heels are lifted, to add again a little bit more load to the ankles. And you can of course use the wall for balance if you need to. Choosing the pace, if maybe you want to go a little bit faster. And if you want to add more variety, don't hesitate to maybe have one foot forward or your feet a little bit wider apart. Maybe trying an asymmetrical position with the toes not pointing in the same direction. And find again your initial standing position. Don't hesitate at any point to shake things out to have a little bit more blood flowing in your legs. And bend your knees so your feet will be a little bit closer together. And with your knees bent, you're going to place both hands on both knees and start to bend your knees a little bit more so they're passing over your toes. And then start to circle them to the right. And then back, so your knees will be extended again. Then bend them to the left. And then again over the toes to the right and back. So you're doing big circles with your knees. And depending how that feels, you can choose if you want to bend your knees more or less. So we don't want anything painful here. If you feel that it's too much load, that it's not super comfortable, then don't bend your knees as much for now. And then reverse the circle. Good. And we're going to continue with the circles. You're going to extend your left leg behind you. You can have your left toes tucked under, bend your right knee. And this time, again, use the wall if you want a little bit more balance, but your arms can just be by your sides. So your right knee will go past your toes, and again, you will circle it from right to left. So making, again, these big circles. And at any point, feel free to come back with the circles when the feet are on the same side. Since here we will apply, again, a little bit more load to the knee and ankle. And reverse direction. So from left to right. And we're going to add a bit more on top of that. So with or without the wall, you're going to this time lift your left leg. You can bend your left knee. And again, bend your right knee. and start to circle again. So that will be even more load here because we're doing it on one leg. And reverse the circle when you feel like it. From right to left, left to right. Good. And place your left foot down and extend your right leg behind you. The same thing, we bend the left knee and start to circle it from right to left. So it's really important to know that our knees have the capacity to rotate a little bit. And very often we're thinking to just move our knees as a hinge joint, meaning that we're just thinking about extension and flexion. But exploring this rotational capacity is important because our knees can do it. And so we want to use it because we want to be able to rotate our lower legs. Good. Reverse direction. Good, and we're gonna go for the single-legged version. So lift your right leg from the floor, bend your right knee, and then start to circle your left knee in one direction, the one that feels the most natural to begin with. Take time to observe again which muscles are working. Good. And then reverse direction. Perfect. And place your right foot down. Good. Shake a little bit your legs again. Good. And from here we're going to imagine that we're walking on a straight line. So one foot is gonna go in front of the other foot, but leaving some space here. You still want to have a reasonable amount of balance. And you're gonna bend both knees. As low as you're comfortable, you can let your back heel lift from the floor. Maybe your back knee is touching the floor, maybe not, it doesn't matter. Just go as low as you're comfortable to, and then come back up. And then your back foot is going in front of the other foot. You're bending both knees and coming back up. And repeating. And once you're facing a wall, you cannot go any further. Then up, pivot, and go the other way. And when you finish to explore a straight line in both directions, then start to go maybe a little bit more diagonally, or a little bit like a crab from side to side. And your feet don't have to be pointed straight forward. They can turn a little bit in and out. And again, you're totally free to do whatever you want with your legs, crossing one leg behind the other, in front of the other, making bigger steps. And if you feel that it's too much for your knees, again, don't go super low. You can just do smaller lunges, still exploring different positions with your feet, with your legs, but not bending as low. So we're really working progressively here. Good. And progressively make your way back to your standing position. Again, having your wall nearby if you want to. Shifting your weight on your right foot, lifting your left foot slightly from the floor in front of you, and start to circle your ankle. Really exploring your range of motion here. Your toes are pointing up, down, to the sides, and then changing direction. Good, and place your left foot down and do the same with the right ankle. Doing nice and big circles. Perfect. And place your right foot down. Good. Feel free to take a little bit of a moment here to feel your knees, to feel your ankles. Maybe to add more movement if you want to, again, wiggle your toes. Maybe roll your ankles from side to side. Circle your pelvis. All right, good job. Thank you for joining me again today. I hope to see you soon and I wish you a very good day.